Hey guys, it's Tamara Bennett from Southern Adornments Decor. I'm back again today with another Painters Clubhouse member. If you haven't been following along, we've been interviewing a new Clubhouse member every day this week at noon Central. Nancy Beeson is our guest today. She's been a Clubhouse member for quite a while now. As you can see by all the paintings behind her on the wall, she paints pretty frequently. Nancy, give them a little introduction, kind of tell them how you got started in painting. What's your background?
I started a really long time ago. I've always done crafting. My mom, my grandma were crafty. I don't know if you ever heard of those little Artex paints that were in a tube. They used to do that. Wow. And they did my grandma did ceramics, and so all kinds of stuff that was around. My mom always sewed, and she did some quilts with embroidery. So when I was little, I just, automatically started picking up all the things. So that's my problem. I have way too many interests, and it's hard to focus.
I feel
so
ya.
I did that. Growing up. And then when my husband and I were married, we moved to Laredo, which is far south Texas. And I didn't know anyone. And we had a mobile home, and our house sat like 5 feet up off the ground on one end, and it was sitting on the ground on the other end. So he built a little shop underneath. And then when his parents came, they built him a little lean-to outside, and he got some tools. And so he had a bandsaw and a scroll saw. And so I learned how to cut a few things that I had been interested in at the craft shows. And I set up a little craft booth in a mall and did that for a few years until my kids were, little, and they closed all those malls. And so there wasn't anywhere to go. And I just stopped and did stuff for my family. But I wanted to share how sad my painting was back then. Can you see it?
It's a little more one-dimensional than some of the things I see hanging up behind you.
So that was one of the things from over 30 years ago. So pretty crazy that still, obviously I'm a pack rat. So
you don't ever get rid crazy. Of anything, huh?
I know.
Well, I see lots of beautiful things hanging up behind you. What is your favorite project you think you've done lately? Like, I can't say ever, because you know how we are. We change our favorites so often.
I do. I change them. I love blue bonnets and sunflowers. And so putting the blue bonnets on things, I did a door hanger for a friend at work, and she just said, I want blue bonnets and welcome. And that's all she told me. And so I, put it on just a white background, but I had a great time doing that.
Are you from
I don't
Texas?
know. What?
Are you from Texas?
Yes, I am born and raised and still live here. We lived in New Mexico for a brief moment of insanity, and that was it. My husband has moved me all over the state because his job as a teacher kept him going. So,
well, I knew blue bonnets, aren't they like the Texas flower? I hear a lot of our Texas members adding them to their door hangers, so that's really cool. Fun little fact: the state flower for Kentucky is the goldenrod. And some of the ladies who had traveled here from Texas, North Carolina, places like that were like, what is this yellow flower you have blooming everywhere? They said, do you guys plant those? I said, that's a weed. We call that the goldenrod, and it wreaks havoc on your sinuses. And they said, no wonder my head has been so congested since we got here. They said, there's fields full of them. I said, yeah, because if you're not currently tilling up a field or killing the weeds in the field, you're going to have goldenrod everywhere. And it is beautiful when you see that yellow field full, but all I see are allergies when I look out there at it.
Right. I know Mississippi's flower is the magnolia, and so I didn't even know what Kentucky's flower was. I wouldn't know what it looked like.
It's to me, it's beautiful in mass quantities as far as like the yellow color, but as far as like to hold up just a sprig of it, it's not very pretty. It's just kind of, it's not beautifully arranged or anything. I see lots of fellow Texans over in the comments. I see Heather Hearing and Janet Hunter. I feel like you guys could start your own chapter of the Painters Clubhouse group down in Texas. There's so many of you. But Texas
yes, we a few of us met up at the Dallas event and have followed each other. So last fall we had another event, and every time we saw someone that was from the clubhouse, it was like, hey, hey, hey.
I think that's awesome. I know Miss Pam Savage, who is from Texas. She's not far from Dallas. She's done a few events and things, and lots of our clubhouse members have showed her support.
Yes, she is in Sherman, which is north of Dallas. And I used to live in Granbury, which was close to Fort Worth. And but whenever I found out where she was, we had already moved closer to Waco. So it's about 3.5 hours. So her last event, I really was planning on going, but there was something going on that weekend. I just didn't get to go. So hopefully she'll do it again, and it'll be a time when I can make it.
Yeah. Janet Hunter said, Pam is my neighbor. So she must live pretty close. And I know Heidi Easley is from like the Granbury area. So yeah. And you came to Southern Comments Live in Dallas. And didn't you come to Destin also?
No, I did not. I'm a teacher, and it's difficult to get away for more than a few days. And so that would have been a couple of days and back and forth. Mm-hmm. So I just couldn't.
It helped that the one in Dallas was in your state and in July. So it was in the middle of summer for you.
Yes, it was. It was just about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes from my house. So it was an easy drive. And it was during the summer.
Yes, yes. My husband was like, why did we do this in July? Summer's always a busy time for us as a family. And he's like, never again. We don't need to do another event in the summer. I'm like, but honey, that's when a lot of our people are teachers. That's when they're off of work. So,
yes, exactly.
I'm not saying never again, but summer is a good time for a lot of people. Okay, let's go through a couple of questions here. Do you cut your own door hangers?
I can. I will if I have an order, or if something just is really, can get me. I learned how to do the jigsaw after watching your stuff, and because before that I'd only used scroll saw and bandsaw, and our stuff had been sitting in the garage, and we'd moved it 20 times. And so I start getting things out and trying to figure out how they work again. And the jigsaw is just handy. Mm-hmm. But I struggle with my wrist and holding it. So I know that the scroll saw would be easier. So I bought me a really nice big one, but it's a little bit too old, and it's I don't know, it's real shaky, and so it doesn't give my wood kept splintering. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go back to the drawing board. I pulled out the jigsaw and used it a few more times. And then I ordered a scroll saw off Amazon, and it's still in the box.
Oh no.
because I haven't had an order for anything. If I have just one thing, I'll pull out the jigsaw because it's convenient.
Yeah.
But I'm not great with all the little cuts and corners and stuff.
Mhm.
So if I get stuck, then I will call my husband and say, hey, can you fix this little piece? But usually I can figure it out, or I do it where there's not a hole where there should be.
Mhm. Well, if I were you,
But
what
I
I would
did.
do Oh, sorry. If I were you, what I would do is if I didn't have any orders coming in, I would pretend I had orders coming in. I would set up the camera and film myself cutting out on the scroll saw and say, busy cutting orders. Anybody want to get their name in the pot, and pretend like you're cutting everybody's orders. And then you're bound to have people who are like, I didn't know you cut out your own door hangers. Where can I order one? It stimulates conversation, because a woman using a power tool is going to stop somebody in their tracks when they're scrolling through Facebook. They're like, what's she doing?
That's true. I did a few craft shows, and so I got up a lot of stock, but then I didn't sell a whole lot. So it's just a matter of not wanting to spend that money on those things. And so I paint on rounds or on canvas or something that's less expensive, so that I'm still painting. But yeah, I need to find that avenue in order to be able to get a few more out.
I think that's a good point. So lots of people who are new to the Clubhouse might not have the financial capability to just go out and buy a scroll saw, or start ordering tons of blanks from us on our website or something like that. They might not have a lot of money to invest right up front. So things like that are really accessible. You can put it on a canvas. You could put it on a piece from the Dollar Tree. You could buy just a bulk of wood rounds, especially if you found them at like a Hobby Lobby or somewhere on sale. Um, and I know like our Clubhouse members may not know this, but we just launched a new product on Friday, which is a Painters Clubhouse starter pack. And in it, you have the option of getting 5 wood rounds for $35 if you buy the starter pack.
That's a deal.
That's only $7 per round. So that would get you started right away, at getting pieces painted and being able to put your templates on wood rounds. And I think that's a great way to kind of get started. And you could sell a few of those, that you save that money to buy tools if you want to buy tools, or buy more wood blanks.
Most definitely.
Have you done many paint parties?
I'm trying to keep track, and I think I'm at about 15. I have a lot scheduled, but I'm having a hard time getting seats, getting people to book. I had to cancel. I think I've canceled 4 since January. And one of them is at a venue downtown that they're even advertising, and it's just no one is, picking it. And they can't say they don't like me because they haven't ever painted with me.
You can't say that. I wonder if it's just the time of year, or if it could be a variable of things. It could be the timing, it could be the price, it could be the particular design. Some are like, especially for me, even like my workshops. Some of my workshops have been a huge hit. We've had lots of signups, and then the other ones, I feel like it's pulling teeth to get people to sign up, and I'm like, it must be the project.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard because I try and get the on trend designs, and I offer more than one thing. Try not to offer too many, but it's like things that are similar, but different colors or different options or something. So I did. We talked a couple of years ago, and you encouraged me to do that. You said, talk to the people you work with and kind of, hint, and well, they never bit. And I try to be a little more forceful, but I'm not real, in some situations I can be, but, so 2 falls ago, I sent out some emails, and I got a church or two to say, hey, that sounds like a great idea. And then there was a VFW that said, hey, yeah, let's do this. And I would give them a little bit of time, and I would send them a couple of pictures, and they're like, ooh, I like this. I'll get back with you. And they wouldn't. And then I would, I kept following up, and they never did. And so the one church is a big church that's right over here about a mile from the house. And I've still sent, but she was like, oh, we're going to wait until spring before we do anything. And I finally, last year, I said, okay, that's it. Mm-hmm. Someone made a post about something on another group that I'm in, and they threw something out there about giving away 5 free seats. And I said, you know what can I lose? It's Canvas. They're very reasonable. It doesn't take a whole lot for me to get them ready. I just need to, so I put it out there to do it. And there were a couple of people in my area that were like, hey, but no one bit. So one of my friends that's about 2.5 hours away where we used to live said, will you travel? And I said, I could. I said, my parents live an hour from you, so I'll go visit them and I'll come see you on the way. Uh-huh. And so I booked her, and she wound up, instead of her painting herself, she made it a team building for her daughter's volleyball team. Mm-hmm. And so I went ahead and just took a chance and contacted one of the places in the town where my parents live. And I said, hey, what do you think about? And they said, oh, yeah, that sounds great. And so we set it up. Mm-hmm. And so then I called one of my friends who likes to do stuff. And I said, hey, I'm going to be in town. What do you think about? So I went to see my parents, and I did 3 paint parties in 4 days.
I bet you were exhausted.
But it was so much fun. It was so much fun. I had like 12, and then I had 14, and then I had 10 or 11. And it was so much fun. And I definitely was bitten. And so I came back and said, okay, and so I started trying to contact, and I found a place that let me do one in November. Mm-hmm. Actually, I found 2 in November. So I did one on like 30 minutes on one direction, and one about 20 minutes the other way. And I drive an hour every day to work, so it's like a town that I drove through anyway. So I've had those 2 places that I've done every month since then. But I have had to cancel 2 parties, one at each, recently, because they just didn't make. But
what ones you don't give up. Like you are one of and you're like, that's the way I am. I am like, when I have my mindset that I want to do something, I'm like, come hell or high water, I'm going to accomplish this. Like, I'm going to keep trying. And I keep hearing that in you. And so I mean,
I am. And like I said, I got that one venue, and they're advertising, and it's downtown. And so I set that up as an afternoon, and I had another one that was going to be in the evening. Well, the evening one did a couple of times, but the afternoon one never did. And she was like, well, I like what you're doing. Let's schedule until June. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yay, I've never been. Thank you so much for supporting me. Let's do this. And so I actually have it in a week next weekend, and I have one person signed up. But we changed it to evening. So now I need to see if we can do some more creative marketing to get a few more, or pull in some friends.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet that Miss Heidi easily has some ideas for how you could improve that marketing. She's coming to be a guest in the clubhouse next month, if you hadn't heard. She's going to be coming in and teaching us some stuff about paint parties. But yeah, I don't know what you're doing to advertise on your side, and I don't know what the restaurant or the venue is doing, but there's probably a lot more y'all could be doing to draw people in for sure.
Yeah. I am in her group,
Good, good. You're already getting all the
and
advice.
she has a lot of awesome ideas, and it has definitely helped me to grow
Yeah.
in that direction. So, but I'm still not willing to give up the clubhouse.
Well, good. We're glad you aren't going anywhere. Well, what is a goal that you have for the next year? Like what are you trying, like what is something you're working toward?
Well, I guess it's the larger parties and being more consistent. Um, do a few lives, a few more reels. I've done them. I just haven't done them recently. Be more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Are you taking photos and videos at those paint parties for reels and things?
yes,
Good.
yes,
Yeah. I think a lot of times people don't sign up for stuff like that because they're just like, either they think they can't do it, they think they're not going to be able to accomplish the painting part of it, or they just unknown is what is holding them back. It's like they don't know what to expect. But,
yes.
I always made it more about the experience than the project, the experience of getting away with the girls and doing something fun and all of that. And, as long as my people
Yeah,
at the end of the day had a really great time, mission accomplished.
yeah. That's definitely it.
Well, what is some advice that you would give to somebody who's just starting out? Maybe advice you would have given to yourself if you were just starting out in the clubhouse that maybe you didn't know back then.
Well, obviously, don't wait. Do it. Jump in. Take a chance. Even if they can't do the clubhouse right now, follow and pull something out and start painting with us. Share
Mm.
your work online with us, and you'll get feedback, and you'll be surprised. Um, Also, don't stop. Um, because like me, I stopped way back. And if I had continued, I would be a lot more confident, and, I might be doing a little bit different, but I still, I would definitely have more more knowledge built up in there from continuing, instead of I would do one thing and then I would give up because I didn't have any encouragement.
Mhm.
So
One thing
stick with it.
one thing I keep hearing from people is, "I wish I'd done it sooner." You know? And so that is just a common theme that I keep hearing from people that I interview and ask. And so there was somebody last night who said they just can't afford it. And so what I said to that person was, you might not be able to afford it now. I know times are really tough right now. Groceries, gas, everything's gotten more expensive. So my advice to that person was to just watch and paint with me live on Tuesdays on my Facebook page, or follow old videos on my YouTube. I mean, we have a free library on our website with 3 new templates that we put in there every quarter that you can go and download, and you can follow with those. You're not going to have the community aspect, and you're not going to be able to like post your pictures in the Painters Clubhouse. It's not going to feel the same, but at least you'll be making some kind of progress. And I challenge that person to set themselves a goal between now and September, when we open the doors again, to try and sell at least 1 door hanger a month. Because if you can do that, if you know you can consistently sell 1 door hanger a month, then you know you can pay for the clubhouse because it'll offset the
Right.
cost. And so, maybe by September that person will be ready.
Yes.
Well, what is your favorite part about being a clubhouse member, Nancy?
Well, obviously the community. I love the challenges. Um, I love putting different things together, making it my own. I love seeing how everyone else does it because they have different ideas and, sharing the
Mhm.
fact that everyone is so generous.
Yeah. It sparks something inside of me when I see all
It
these paint,
really does.
and I want to paint more. It encourages me, and it helps me to think outside the box too. So,
Most definitely.
well, thank you for joining me for a few minutes today, Nancy. I've really enjoyed getting to talk to you and catch up with you for a moment. I wish you luck in all of those paint parties that you're doing, and I hope that you book many, many more.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Nancy. Bye, y'all.
Bye.